that pole vaulter who hit the bar with his dick. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He definitely did that.
Can you imagine being a little gay boy, just like sat down in front of the TV trying to watch some pole vaulting, and then that happens to you?
You disappear to your room for days. Well, the Olympics are coming to a close soon. Just after my 38th birthday, by the way, which,
wow.
Just to tell everybody, it was sensational. And it felt Olympian in stature. You had to be there. But I am sad to let so much of this go, namely gymnastics, because I feel like all of the personalities from the gymnastics competition, on the U.S. side anyway, have completely popped off. More so than ever. We thought we knew Simone Biles, and her legend only grows. Joel, what did you take in from the Olympics? Was it a meaningful experience for you?
Yeah, I mean, mostly just that big dick on that pole vaulter.
Let's talk about this. Part. Go ahead. Okay, this man.
I mean, talk about losing is the new winning in a big way. Because it's like, honey, I lost the gold at pole vaulting because of my giant dick. Like, you can't ask for a better narrative, I think, leaving the Olympics than that. Listen, I'm not an Olympics person by nature. Like, I am not interested in I'm not interested in running as a sport. Like, that's just not something that I'm into. And I also have a lot of like political reasons for not loving the Olympics that I won't get into. I can hear your eyes rolling from across the country. But like, it is really hard, I think, in this day and age of like, if you're online even a little bit, if you're on Twitter or social media, it's really hard not to get sucked in.
Yeah.
Like, I have never once cared about I've never heard of any of these people. I haven't been following their career. I'm not invested in like any of these athletes or sports, and they all disappear as soon as the Olympics are over, but like, it is so hard not to get sucked in and invested in someone you have known about for 5 minutes. Again, very similar to Tim Walz.
The man of the hour. Yes. No,
yeah.
There's something about Olympic sports also where almost all of them, unless it's maybe basketball, are considered niche in some way in the rest of life. And if you're somebody who's ever had your interest called niche, which is anytime you go into a meeting or anytime I go into a meeting, I can only relate to these people who are, it's like if you put all of your brain power into like underwater basket weaving. It's like there's a very small audience that will actually understand the mastery of what you're doing, that can give anything beyond sort of a basic cursory praise for what you do. And yet you're performing for people like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always like in the back of my head, and I guess this is just like how I grew up and how I developed, but like, I'm always like, okay, like, you've got all this attention and everyone cares about you, but like, how are you paying the bills as a shot putter?
No.
Like, how does that work? Like, do you have a day job? Like, you're an Olympic athlete who then has to go back to work at like fucking Groupon or wherever. I don't know. Like, it's just like, so I'm always like deeply concerned watching the Olympics at the same time, because I cannot think about the logistics of their lives when the whole world isn't watching them on NBC at 3 a.m.
No, I feel the same way, because I don't think we have like binoculars into that life. Like, I don't know what it's like to be a world-class athlete and then your life is otherwise normal. It's either you get millions of dollars in advertising jackpots, or that's the only type of athlete I've ever heard of. Like, I only know how Caitlin Clark lives. I don't know how the other WNBA players live.
Who do you think are the big winners coming out of the Olympics in terms of who's the meme queen, who's really captured the American like consciousness around them exiting the Paris Games?
To me, the lasting image of this Olympics is Rebecca Andrade winning a gold medal, and then she is flanked on the side. She's a Brazilian gymnast. She's flanked on the silver and bronze podiums by Simone Biles and Jordan Childs, who are bowing down to her. I feel like the one thing that has always been hard for me to embrace about the Olympics is truly the idea that America is the best. Like, that's ultimately what we're celebrating, that like we belong on a different platform literally than other countries, and we want people to admire us for that. Whereas I feel like this camaraderie, namely on the medal podium, cuts right through that. And it's about, these are colleagues in a sport where they're working their ass off all the time. And there are times when it's a horrible sport, like you're terribly injured. You are, I'm sure, incredibly isolated. And to see them cutting across that is just, it adds to all three of their legends, but namely Simone Biles, who is so normal considering everything we have ever put her through.
Yeah. I gotta say too, like for me, I guess this is like, I'm not like especially patriotic or anything, or love America, but I guess like for me, am always way more interested in watching someone, from a country that is not pulling in all of the medals excel and win, like when that random, like when you get the clip package from somebody from Yugoslavia instead of whatever American is running that event, I'm always way more invested in that person than, one of the, 1,000, like a million Americans who are, crushing at the, at swimming or what have you. Like it's always much more, I don't know. I'm like, that's the movie I want to watch, not necessarily, the Simone Biles story. As obviously would sit down for the Simone Biles.
You're saying you're not buying a
biopic.
ticket? Okay, we'll focus group that.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and I love especially like the really old, like I love an old gymnast.
Oh fuck yeah.
Like the way they talk about a 32-year-old at the gym at the Olympics in like a gymnastics category as though they are on the brink of death, and it's so inspiring to see them there.
Oh right.
It's how I feel walking into High Tops in WeHo. Honestly, it's like
this is our main gay bar in WeHo, which once upon a time we were the exact median age for that bar, and now we're like a couple of ticks above. Yeah.
Yeah, and then people when they see you there, like Gen Z gays are always like, it's so inspiring to see you back. We never thought.
They're wearing their like mountainous cargo pants, like standing near us.
Right.
Though you wear those pants well, so you look like a colleague to them.
Yeah.
Well, another gymnast in that realm that I'm obsessed with is the Uzbek gymnast Oksana Chusovitina, who competed in vault like something like 11 Olympics in a row, and she medaled as recently as I believe 2008. But like, I cannot imagine going back to that level of stress time and again, well past the expiration date for a normal gymnast, which I believe is like 15 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well into your 30s, 40s, etc. She is amazing. I also wanted to say, regarding your last point, I was obviously rooting for the runner Sha'Carri Richardson, who was, blackballed after the last Olympics because of this marijuana situation. She comes back here. She's better than ever. She gets a silver in the 100-meter dash. You see that and you're like, oh, that sucks. She didn't win. The person who won is this athlete named Julian Alfred, who is the first person ever to win a medal from St. Lucia. Oh, yeah, root for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, way more exciting to me. As much as I love Sha'Carri, like, this is way more. It's like way more. I don't know. Like, show me that movie. I want to see it.
Right. I will say there is something about running where I would almost guess I wouldn't be interested in watching it because, for example, I don't find swimming that compelling, even though Katie Ledecky, I guess there's just something physically wrong with her where she has to beat people by laps. I don't understand what's wrong with her. But running, though, like, I think it's like the way you get to look into the runner's eyes before they take off. Like, you can see not just the fire in them, but the doubt. Like, something could go terribly wrong in the 9 seconds they have on the field. So to watch them, ignite, go into action, and go. I do find something actually kind of compelling about that. No matter who it is, like, you don't have to tell me I know Sha'Carri Richardson's backstory, but watching any one of these people, it's easy to root for all of them, and to also root for no one, breaking a leg. That's sort of the energy I bring into an Olympics games.
No, absolutely, and it is funny. I was watching some of the dashes the other day at a friend's house, and it's again one of those things where you're like, there's not a single day of the year that you could ask me to watch someone run around a track and be interested in that. And yet, because it is the Olympics, I was so invested so quick in watching these people run 3.5 minute long miles. Yeah. I was just like, that is superhuman. Like, on my best day, I could run an 11-minute mile, maybe.
Right.
You know?
No, that's not my game at all. Oh, speaking of track and field, by the way, did you know that this like superstar named Mondo Duplantis once again beat his own world record in the pole vault? Now, let me say something about this. How is it possible to still get a world record in the pole vault? The pole remains the same size. It's like the pole has been lying to us, and it turns out we can keep making it longer or something. I don't know. Yeah. What a baffling event. Like, who pitched this in the first place?
It is crazy. And I had it is just, for me, I guess the other thing about the Olympics that makes it really hard for me is that, like, I guess I'm just like not interested in seeing people do things for the sake of human achievement. I just like, I'm like, why though? Why did you devote your life to this? Mm-hmm. I don't. it is like, I mean, it's like it's sort of like the naiad problem that I have, which is like, cool, you did this thing, but why? Like, for the sake of human, I don't know. I guess my other thing with the difference being in pole vaulting and naiad is like, I believe the pole vaulter. You know?
Naiad, I mean, like, I will say about that movie, for being basically a sports movie, like a traditional sports movie, they at least shed some light on the idea that a person could be invested in this narrative for dubious reasons and like be terrible to the people around them in order to achieve it, and also really not ultimately explain why they are doing this monumental feat. But right. Man, that performance is... I think it will stand out in Oscar history among Best Actress nominees because Annette Bening in that movie is so... She always looks like she was recently electrocuted. That is her vibe in that movie. You know, like down to the hair, the ping pong match with Jodie Foster, where it's so fraught. It's like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf level fraught for some reason, as she's just explaining she wants to swim. Yeah.
Two lesbians playing ping pong. You gotta love it.
That if there was a Christopher Durang play about this, it'd be called Two Lesbians Playing Ping Pong. Yeah. And of course, the other image that this Olympics leaves in my head is that pole vaulter who hit the bar with his dick. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He definitely did that. And my question to him is, there's no way this hasn't happened to him before. Like
I know
the uniform is structured.
You think he'd be wearing full tucking panties.
Yeah, right.
Pole vault. Like,
right. It should be wrapped up under him and over his shoulder. Yeah. Yes.
You got to think like a little bit. He wanted this to happen. Like
Right. No, I mean, I mean, I consider him a mensch now, and I believe he should be given like a Congressional Medal of Honor or something.
Exactly. He's going back to the Olympics Village, like a winner in so many words. Like he has to. Also, fun fact before we move on, did you know you cannot use the Grinder Explorer function in the Olympic Village? You cannot put yourself in the Olympic Village to then see who's in the Olympic Village. They've turned that function off, which I guess is like good. I'm glad. Let those men fuck in peace.
Yeah, right. And also, I guess that's supposed to be like a safety thing, right? Because there's plenty of people there who live in countries where it's illegal or something. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, let me peek a little bit. Jesus Christ. I mean, like, we were all alive one time.
That's the thing that I can't help but think about too with regards to that pole vaulter is like, I remember being really horny as a kid watching the Olympics. Like, obviously, Summer Olympics, you're watching the swimmers, you're watching the divers, you know, things like that. But like, can you imagine being a little gay boy just like sat down in front of the TV trying to watch some pole vaulting, and then that happens to you?
You disappear to your room for days.
Exactly, and it's like the number of times they've replayed it on NBC and on the internet. Like, it's just like, what are we like? We've really we're going. It's just porn. Like,
and again, it's like I congratulate that generation for getting an image like that. Like, we were certainly not, when I'm watching whatever Dan Jansen speed skating or something, we didn't get any images like that.
No.
But at the same time, when they do the slow-mo replay of this guy's dick hitting the bar, it is like Hanna-Barbera like sound effects appear or like ring out. It's so shocking. It's such a visceral thing to watch. I can't think of any other image in sports like it other than the occasional like singlet pull during a wrestling match that they play at, you guessed it, High Tops in West Hollywood.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, you know that pole vaulter, that clip is going to be showing up at every gay sports bar's like clip package that they're playing during jockstrap night will include that pole vaulter's dick hitting the bar.
And to that man, I say, I salute you. Welcome,
Yeah.
welcome to the family. All right, that's our extensive and incredibly intimidating Olympics coverage. I hope you enjoyed it.